When you hear the name Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, what is it that comes into your mind? Entrepreneurship, creativity, innovation, and transforming the world. This is what these guys have done. That's what we want to talk about today. Welcome to the show. Hi, welcome back. Today I have a special guest on the show that has a story to tell that I think would be transformative. I'm an entrepreneur to the core, and I have an affinity for entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs shape the world. Somebody said once, two people that have the most significant impact in the world, politicians, and the second, entrepreneurs. Agree or disagree? But this is how I welcome you to the show, Mr. Raphael Marrah.
Thank you so much, Joe, for having me here.
Raphael, how's it going?
It's going good, thank God.
Now, would you consider yourself an entrepreneur?
Yes, I will.
What is it that made you an entrepreneur?
When you have this thing in you to make a change, then you become an entrepreneur. And one of the things that takes you towards that drive is just because you want to make a change. And I think that's what I've always wanted to do.
The seed for entrepreneurship is a passion for change. That is a quote for my guest today on the show. His name is Raphael Marrah. Raphael, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Joe.
Now, Raphael, let's talk a bit about your background. You are a doctoral candidate, PhD in Sustainable Development, yes. UNIMAC, Senior Business Development Professional, certified by IFC, TPMA. What's TPMA?
It's the Total Productive Maintenance.
Accredited mentor for both the Tony Elumelu Foundation for Entrepreneurship Program and Mentor X Africa, coach E4 Impact MBA in Entrepreneurship Program with UNIMAC. Over 10 years experience working with small and medium-sized businesses. Some of your clients are UN Women, Corded, Comic Relief, UNDP, and GIZ. You're proprietor and managing editor for the Business Digest newspaper and Chief Executive Officer, Raphael Marrah and Associates, which is a business development services company. That is quite a lot.
Thank you.
And I was going to ask you, how old are you? But I will not ask you that question. I will not ask you that question. And you made a very strong statement just now, which I think is key. It's a passion to see things get better, a passion to see things change. Is the seed for entrepreneurship. Now, a year ago, you've had a very stellar career. Can you run us through for 1 minute how long you've actually been? I know you have 10 years experience in BDS, but just run through. What school?
So I went to a school that is not known. If I say it now, you're not known. It's in Waterloo, Peninsula Secondary School.
All right, okay. Let me press a pause. Some of you might have seen my tie already. This is the Albert Academy. And this is the Albert Academy. Our foundation week is coming up very soon. You just talked about the school. So, Esekwam Wideri, I salute all academicians out there. Esekwam Wideri, rather to be than to seem. Congratulations to all academicians and relatives of academicians. That school actually built us and made us the person that we are now. So it's Peninsula Secondary School.
So yes, I went to Peninsula Secondary School as secondary school.
Then tertiary.
Tertiary, I went to Frobe College.
What did you read there?
So I read conflict studies at Frobe College.
Peace and conflict studies.
Exactly, when it was not fashionable. And it's still, I think, not fashionable.
It's not fashionable. Why did you decide to go for peace and conflict?
So I actually wanted to work for the UN. So there was this. Yes.
So that was the day that pushed you there. Then Frobe College, then you moved from there.
Moved from Frobe College, I studied development management at IPAM for my master's. And then I'm now doing my PhD. Yes, in sustainable development.
How do you move into the entrepreneurship space?
Fine. So when I completed university, I had an opportunity for internship, and that was the African Foundation for Development here in Sierra Leone, AFOD. And so I said, let me give it a try. And then it was there that I started understanding what business was all about. But prior to me going to university, I had done my diploma in business management and administration. But those days, it was purely correspondence. Studied a little bit at LIXAL, and then I did my ICM, Institute of Commercial Management. So I had that background theoretically, but not practically. So AFOD was the opportunity, and then I started learning as I go. And this is it.
1st of September this year, you celebrated 1 year of the company, because after having all these things, you worked for various organizations. At some point in time, you were going to come and work for LBD.
Yes.
You ran away.
Yes.
But after having done all of these things, you set up your own business, Raphael Marrah and Associates, and September was a year. The company was a year old, Raphael Marrah and Associates. You posted something on social media that went viral, and I got to see it. Somebody shared it, and it was all over the place. And you were just reflecting on one year as an entrepreneur. And I could quote your opening statement in your post. You said, over the last 12 months, it dawned on me that doing business trainings via textbook, which has always been my forte, can be so quite different from when you are in the trenches and building a business yourself.
Yes, so as I said, over the years, since I started my internship 11, 12 years on, I actually kind of got this interest into business and business trainings. Did several trainings all around the place, England, Sierra Leone, and so I got the knowledge, as in textbook knowledge. So I have this mentor in South Africa who says, you cannot teach business if you are not in the trenches building one yourself. So then I said to myself, let me go and build a business. So my textbook or theory definition of business, as opposed to doing the business itself, when you put those two together, then it makes you a better trainer. So that was what I set myself doing. And I've done that, and I would say I rather learn the theory than the practice in schools or universities, because I've learned a lot. So now I can teach with all authority and tell people where the issues are, as opposed to when I had to read some textbook from England.
Read a textbook
that may not be contextual.
And if you can remember, a couple of weeks ago, I served on the board of SMIDA, appointed by the government. And you know, there was this statement I made in front of the partners. It's not just about giving people money. If that money is not followed up by training by people who built businesses themselves, because it's completely different. And that's the point I think you're trying to make.
Yes.
It's, business, learning business management and running businesses on paper and in textbooks, it's completely different. And you've had a couple of lessons. Maybe we'll have about six or seven lessons that you learned along the way, which would just reflect a little on. You said micro and corporate businesses have a better chance of thriving in Sierra Leone, in the marketplace, as opposed to SMEs who struggle for obvious reasons. That's your lesson number one. Why would you say that? So after having read a lot about businesses and after having practiced it myself, so I came up with this theory that in the business landscape in Sierra Leone, if you are micro, as in small business, I call them survivalist business, you have a better chance of thriving. If you are corporate with multi-million dollars in your bank account, you can access the bank loans. Of course, you have. But when you have that asset, you have everything security you could put as collaterals and so on. But when you are in the middle, when you are in the middle, and the most important chain, and I'll tell you why. The corporates will go one day. We've had several businesses that have come in here, made billions, and they've gone. The small business, the micro, they are, as I said, survivalists. It's just survival. Me, my wife, my kids, and that's it. So it does not... They don't change the economy. They don't really do big at all. But what makes the change, and the change that will last, the Zuckerbergs that we know today, they were SMEs. And so why did I say it's difficult? Because a whole lot of things happen along the chain. You do not have the luxury of having $20,000, $30,000 in your bank account because you are SME. You're small. And that's where you begin to build a team. Build beyond yourself. So you have to have people working for you. Not like when you're one and small micro where it's just you and your family members. Exactly. So that is where the disadvantages. And you're saying there's not enough systems to support people at that level. Because the corporates, they can hire a PhD to work for them. They can hire an economist. They're already there. They have the money. They can pay for the quality of staff that they need. Exactly. So let's break it down again. So you've talked about access to finance, the quality of people. The quality of people you hire. Because you do not have the luxury of, again, attracting the MBAs, you have to make do with what you have.
fresh students from the graduates from the universities.
They don't have the skills, they don't have the experience, because you cannot pay for those who already have 5, 6, 7 years.
So at the end of the day, again, you see yourself as the entrepreneur, you see yourself in the business, in every part of the chain in the business. And that is a challenge. You know, some of our institutions or some of the MDAs, they call you and they ask you for X amount of documentation, which is fine. But if you are that small business, you've made, let's say, 3 million leones. I think the example I gave in that my piece was 3 million leones. And a particular MDA comes and asks you for a certain documentation, which is fine. You get that documentation. It takes you 3 months for them to come back to you saying, okay, we saw your documentation, and now we are now ready to pay you. By that time, 3 months have elapsed. The document must have expired. You need to go back to a certain institution.
So you knew that.
Then when you come back 6 months after, the big boss must have traveled. Then who pays you?
So they cannot sign your
9 months down the line, you
still have not been paid.
Now,
so these are the struggles. And major point, we'll come back to the solutions, because what I said to you, we'll run through all of this and says, can we come back to how you deal with this? The first one, he says, the small ones can survive. The fuller shops can be there for 10, 15, 20, 30 years.
Yes.
You know,
as well as the Lebanese.
The Lebanese,
yes.
It's family, they can pass it from one generation to the other. Corporate, big corporate, you know.
They have the
clout, they have what it takes to be able to run this. Now, second point, trust issues. That's what you experience. 1 year as an entrepreneur, running your own business, issues with trust, third-party suppliers and employees.
Yes, so
tell me about that.
So there's this thing, when you start a business, people think you're rich. So the staff you employ, not knowing that it is because you are poor, that is why you ventured into business. Because you want to make money that you have not made, and you have this ambition to make this money. So you are actually hustling.
You're a hustler.
Yeah, you are a hustler.
But they think you're rich.
They think you're rich.
And which means they have to come make money on your...
And exploit you.
Exploit your
so
business.
What happens? The staff you employ think, I need to make 15,000, 20,000 every day for my lunch and my transport from this business. And this staff is being paid.
They pay their salary.
Yes.
But they come to work every day. I have to make something.
No, I have to make that 30,000 to go home, and my transportation, and my lunch. I have to make it from today's activity or
illegally, and not like something that's part of their allowances.
Illegally. So by the time you multiply 30,000 by 26 days, you do the maths. You see how much I would have lost. Meanwhile, you're being paid. Yeah?
And they think you have it. This guy is...
Yes. Because you have some extra 20 million in the bank account. Oh, you're rich. So that is one of the issues around trust. Even the suppliers, you don't have suppliers that would stand and say, no, I am not giving you an inflated invoice. I'll give you the 1 million invoice that I sell, whatever I am selling.
And why wouldn't the suppliers do that?
Because they need to come to that manager. They need to come to that my procurement officer or that my finance officer the next time they need business.
And if they turn them down today,
they don't give them business
I will
anymore.
Not inflate the invoice for you. Next time, the businessman, the staff would rather go to a supplier that would do that.
To another supplier.
And they would lose that business.
Yes.
And so rather than that, it would inflate, the supplier would inflate the price.
You inflate your invoice. And then at the end of the day, who suffers? It's my business that suffers. This same small business. Not corporate, the same small business. So a whole lot of trust issues around. So you begin to ask yourself, who do I trust? Do I have to be in every part of the chain? And if you are in every part of the chain, I keep telling people that I train that if you are the business in your business, you don't have a business.
If you are the business?
If you are the business in the business. What do I mean? If you have to be around for procurements to be done, you don't have a business.
If you have to be around for everything, so
be done.
And somebody says you have a job, but you're just working for yourself.
Exactly.
It's not a business, it's a job you have, and you're working for yourself.
Exactly.
We will come back to that in terms of response. Special guest I have today on the show is Mr. Raphael Marrah, CEO of Raphael Marrah and Associates, and also the proprietor for Business Digest. He says it's the only business newspaper in the country.
It is.
That is contesting. We'll still contest it. Stay with us.